Amma keeps saying, you cannot give up. You cannot move out of education. Once you're an educator, you will remain a lifetime an educator. And so it this magic happens because you get support from a lot of people. And I must say a big thank you to all of you who are the speakers for today, the panelists today, the moderator for today, Pramila, Kudva, and all my dear friends who are here. There are quite a few who are youngsters. You'll see some names whom we don't even recognize. And we are seeing them for the first time. Of course, they put their videos off, but I'm sure they'll switch it on after some time. Uh, you'll see some of the youngsters, and the objective is that they are going to learn something from you. They're going to learn how you sort of retain yourself, your mindfulness, all of that. And I think that is my objective. And I'm happy to hand over the mic to Mrs. Kudva. I will let people come in as they're joining. Thank you, everybody. And let's begin. I think Pramila will start with a small prayer to begin with. So even if we are not saying the prayer, maybe we can join our hands and pray for.
Shall we say the Om Bhurva Swaha? Is that okay?
Yes.
Om Bhurva Swaha.
Guru Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi
Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Shanti. Thank you, Mrs. Fernandez, for giving me the floor. I hope I'm able to do what I had planned to do. Good evening, everyone.
Good
It's
evening.
a privilege.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's a privilege to welcome you to this national pilot organized by EECL. The acronym stands for Empowered Educators, Coach Leaders. Our theme for today is reflective narratives, creating impact across the nation. As educators, we know that classrooms are not just confined to spaces of learning. It goes much beyond that. Every day, every single moment, there is something that is happening in the class. It's a dynamic place. And it is like a seed bed waiting to shape up the nation's future. So we can gain the power through a reflection, pause, move forward, and shape the personalities of the children who are with us for the future of our country. Today, the panel will critically examine impactful professional practices, explore how decision-making can be strengthened with supportive frameworks, and celebrate the creative approaches that make the classroom vibrant and transformative. The spirit of this initiative, sorry, Sorry about that. The spirit of this initiative is collaboration and co-creation that weaves together a powerful confluence of ideas. I look forward to a session where we reflect deeply, share openly, and leave with questions that continue to guide us long after today. It reminds me of an adage that we had learnt when we were in B.Ed. Einstein can only stand on the shoulders of Newton. So we should provide the shoulders for the youngsters to take it forward. With that, I warmly welcome our panelists. And I request all the participants to keep their mics on mute. We have a galaxy of educationists today in our panel, and they have a profile which runs into pages. So with their permission, I would limit it to a brief overview due to paucity of time. Our first speaker for today is Dr. Pinky Tripathi. Dr. Tripathi is a young entrepreneur. She is the founder principal of Thakur Ram Narayan Public School and the director of two more schools. She was invited to Harvard University as a speaker representing India. She is the author of 2 best-selling books on English grammar and writing skills published by Chetana Publications. She has won many accolades. Let me just mention a few. She was awarded as the Rising Star of India by the Thailand Ministry of Education, awarded as Global Leader by Harvard University, the Most Dynamic Principal Award at the International Innovative Education Summit in Dubai. So my first question to you, Dr. Pinky Tripathi. First question. We carry the nation's dream to our classrooms every day. What does this mean to you personally as a leader in education? Unmute yourself.
Yes. First of all, a very good evening to each one of you present here. I am indeed privileged and honored to share this platform with this wealth of experienced people. And well, coming to your question, ma'am, I hope I'm audible to everyone. Talking about nation's dream and taking it to the classroom every day. I'll begin with a very simple knowledge, like which we all know, that initially our country's dream was something else. We all wanted to have babus and clerks through our education system. Today, we no more look at just people with certain degrees. What we want is critical thinkers, problem solvers, and if I am not mistaken, and if I sum it up, all we want is holistic individuals. So when I go to classroom or any of my teammate goes to classroom, the first thing what we remember is we give them a platform to question. We allow them to be inquisitive, to be curious. We allow them to challenge the status quo. Most of us, right from the beginning, are conditioned in such a way that we dare not question the status quo. We dare not question our teachers if we have not understood anything or if we don't abide by something. So very, very important at TRPS, we have imbibed that for everyone, that please, especially the teachers, allow children to question. Only then we make them critical thinkers. I'll just tell you a simple, please on video mode. Am I visible and audible both?
Yes.
Okay, I just read a message. So I'll give you a simple example. Suppose it's Christmas time or it's Diwali time and you've whitewashed the entire home. There comes your kid with a crayon and he wants to color it. What is the immediate reaction of a parent? Hey, stop, don't do it. What are we doing here is, at the very primitive formative stage, we are stopping the child to explore. And that's what happens, ironically, unfortunately, in most of the classrooms. So the very, very important thing is to allow them to explore. Because what is our nation's dream? As I told you, it has undergone a transition. Now we want leaders. Look around us. We have world leaders from our country. So somewhere, education has gone in the right direction before too. Somewhere, kids were given the platform to communicate, to talk, and to express. What is happening today is an MBA graduate or an MBA topper is selling toothpaste. So what is happening is there is a gap between the education, what we are giving, the skills, what they are possessing, and at the end, what they are doing. So when we go to classroom, we focus on inculcating skills, communication skills, except the academics. Of course, that goes without saying. You need to empower your kids, give them a platform to speak, to express, inculcate soft skills, because that's the need of the hour. And give them such examples and tell them that it is not important just to be a doctor or a lawyer. You can be a teacher and make a difference. And how do you do that? You kind of set an example in front of them that this is how an educator should be. So I think very, very important is when you take something to the classroom is you have one thing in mind, that you want them to be critical thinkers, and the rest follows. They become problem solvers, they become solution seekers. So that's what I would like to culminate by saying that what my teachers take it is inculcating critical thinking amongst our kids.
It was interesting to note that you focus on providing a safe environment for the children to ask questions without hesitation. Questioning is one of the only means, not one of the means, it's the only means to eradicate ignorance. So let's now move on to the second question. As a principal or a leader, how do you model reflective practice for your staff? Could you share one professional practice from your journey that has truly transformed your class or institution?
Yes, ma'am. Very interesting question. And I think, firstly, as a principal, you need to lead by example. You need to take ownership. And I think most of us, as heads, as leaders, we should not wait for others to tell us what is good or bad for your school. And how does it happen? It happens through reflection. It happens through introspection. We need to introspect, take the ownership, do something about it. It should always be followed by action. A very simple example, again, an analogy rather, being born and brought up in Mumbai, most of us hate driving. Let me correct, maybe not driving, but the circumstances that make us frustrated on the road because of the traffic signals or the traffic rather. So what do is we blame the driver that, the traffic is not smooth, you're not taking the right route. Why don't we take the driver's seat? We take the onus of reaching the destination by our own intelligence or aptitude. And what do we do and how do we do? Suppose if I want to reach school bang on time, and because of my driver, I'm reaching 20 minutes late every day. So I research, I find out the shortest route and I reach my destination. Maybe not once, 5 days it would take approximately. And then I figure it out, oh my God, even this is not happening. All I want to say here is, as a principal, we need to take the front seat. We need to lead by example and let others understand that introspection is very important. Empowering yourself to initiate the change you want to see in you is very, very important. Simple example from my school. When I opened my school, I was very ambitious. I started my journey. It's echoing somewhere. Someone has to mute it. We started during COVID and it was 117 students. And a lot of ambition, that I'll have my school like this and it'll be this kind of a school. But I figured it out after 2 years that my grade 1 students are finding it very difficult to cope up with the syllabus which I have proposed. Of course, few of the parents did give me a feedback and others were all gaga about it, that you're doing a wonderful job. But I think we need to pause, reflect, and not just see at the numbers that, oh, my admissions are increasing. Why do I need to change? I changed the entire curriculum of grade 1 and magic happened. I see happy kids. And I staunchly believe in that maxim. I changed the curriculum. I reduced the subjects. I correlated the subject to English, Hindi, Marathi. I made education meaningful to my grade 1 students. And after that, boy, oh boy, the kind of admissions we had. And now we are 2000 plus in 5 years. Again, I'm not saying that quantity should be the yardstick, but for me, it was very important to listen to the feedback, work upon the lacunas, and do something about it. Just not sit and listen and pretend that, oh, I will do something about it. But I changed the curriculum. I hired a consultant. I found out a new subject for grade 1 that we call it as literacy, wherein we correlate. So when a child learns about water or water cycle, he knows what you call it in Hindi and in Marathi, and I have a full book based on it. But that happened only after I reflecting on the problems which my grade 1 students were encountering. So bottom line is, reflect on the lacuna, not just reflect, collect the evidence, empower yourself to make things better. And at the end, lead by example.
Makes a lot of sense. But you have a good team, I suppose, which helps you in doing all
Absolutely.
this. That is, I think, very
Absolutely,
critical.
ma'am. The credit goes to my team, definitely.
So just in a lighter vein, I suppose the day of having driverless cars is not very far. We may get.
For me, yes. For me,
So
yes.
I'm just going back to an analogy.
Thank you.
So we move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Pramod Mahajan, who is joining us from UAE. He is currently working as a principal and director of Sharjah Indian School. He is the core member of the education wing of the Indian Embassy, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. He was invited as a speaker at the World Education Leadership Symposium, University of Zurich. He is the academic collaborator at University of Cambridge, Harvard, IIM Ahmedabad, and University of Queensland. Dr. Mahajan is the recipient of many accolades, one of them being the educational entrepreneur from the House of Commons, UK. Dr. Mahajan, we heard a lot about reflection already. Now I'll take it a little forward. Why is reflection an essential part of impactful professional practice for educators?
Thank you, Dr. Pramila Kudva. And good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Salam alaikum, whatever fits as per the scenario. Reflective narratives, for what it is required and why it is required and why it is essential for a senior leadership or for an edu leader, for an educator or being a teacher to reflect, to give the narratives. There are many aspects. If we analyze it 360 degree, there are many things comes up. So let us start with simple to, and then we'll go to concrete. Why the reflection narratives are important to lead as an example and to share and cooperate with the newcomers, as well as not only the newcomers, to update yourself as per the global emerging trends. Because if we don't update, we will nowhere. This is the era where we have to drive the change instead of getting driven by the change. So if you have to drive the change and not getting driven by the change, these reflective narratives are very, very important. So ladies and gentlemen, we are the one who have to drive the change. And for that, reflections and reflection narratives. Now, it is important to have the effectiveness of the educators. Every educator is well in good within his space or her space, but that impactful effectiveness is important. And for that, these reflections are important. We have to empower the educators for the self-evaluation. Self-evaluation of what? Self-interrogation of what? Their own instructional strategies. Self-evaluation of your own instructional strategies. For what? To recognize the students' responses, what they want to learn, where they want to learn, with whom they want to learn, why they want to learn, what sort of learning makes them happy, and how they want to learn. If you don't empower the educator with these things, Learning is not possible. See, learning is a very complicated thing, and being a edu leader or being a principal or being a director or being a owner or whatever we do not have a magical stick that will rotate and learning will happen. Not at all. So to recognize or to self-evaluate or to integrate our instructional strategies, whether it is effective or not, whether it is impactful or not, whether it is working or not, these reflections are important. Another thing, it's, I was there in Harvard and we are discussing a lot about that. Hey, everyone in the world is teaching. But this reflective narratives are important for what? Whatever you are teaching, whether your teaching is getting converted into learning. The big question mark. Otherwise, we all are PhDs and become an MCom and postgraduate and this experience and that experience. Whether your teaching is getting converted into learning. And now the global emerging trend is, even if your teaching is getting converted into the learning, whether that learning is visible, whether the four walls of your classrooms are speaking the language of learning, whether every corner of your school is saying something about how the learning is happening, forget about the positive vibes, whether the vibes of conducive atmosphere of learning is happening. If it is not, these reflections are important. And another thing is, now the question arises, one gentleman when I was talking in Dubai was asked, why we have to integrate ourselves, why our instructional strategies has to be self-evaluated when we know that it is not trial and error, it is well tested. My problem is whether it is effective for that learner, whether they are getting something from it, what is their responses, what is their feedbacks. And if those feedbacks we are not using to adopt their methods to enhance the impactfulness of the education or to enhance the engagement of the students. I remember my days when I was doing my MSc, my professor used to bring the notes which was provided to him by his professor, and we were not at all engaged. Not at all engaged. And when the learner is not engaged, forget about anything. Attainment, there is no question of attainment. And if there is no attainment, what sort of progress? And if there is no progress, what sort of outcomes? And if there is no outcome, what is the learning? Then what will be the final learning, which we did? And I have guts after this 35 years of my tenure to say that, yes, we mugged up all those content and omitted in the examination and become a gold medalist. See, is that a learning? If it is not, then the reflective narratives are very, very important. Another thing is systematic planning. Systematic planning for what? To meet the need and requirement of the learner, to meet the need and requirement of the society, to meet need and requirement of the corporate world, to meet need and requirement of the futuristic aspect, to make the students future ready. More than that, the need and requirement of the global citizenship. Ultimately, the ultimate aim of education is you have to make a global citizen to your learner, to have empathy, to have risk-taking activity, to have coherence in knowledge, in information. Now we are talking about skilling. My point is, what type of skilling? Just now one example has been given. Driving is a skill. But now in Dubai, we are already using driverless cars. So what about that skill? What about that skill? There were days when I was learning my computers, 15, 20 years before, we have to learn the language, C++, HB+, then only we can operate the computers. Now what is about that skill? That skill has gone. You single click and everything is available. So that skills are not important. Yes, I'm firm to say that neither the skill education is important, nor the skills are important. What is important is skilling about how to skill. What is important is skilling about how to skill, understanding about how to understand, learning about how to learn, thinking about how to think. If learning about how to learn, if that has been done, trust me, your student, your learner will be independent learner. No more you are required. And yes, the ultimate aim of education or teaching learning process is make your learner completely independent. They neither they should depend on you, nor they should depend on curriculum, nor they should depend on schooling. They should be an independent, lifelong learner. And if that happened, it's fine. If it is not happening, reflective narratives are important. Now, one reflection I wanted to give: assessment of learning, assessment for learning, assessment as learning, assessment in learning. Are the assessee ready for assessment? Are they coming up with the smiling face that, yes, I'm ready today for assessment? Are they coming up? No. Why not? Because the assessment is not futuristic. The assessment is not future fit. Because the assessment, students are not enjoying. They are not forgetting themselves when they are taking the assessment. So what sort of assessment is required? We did a trial. Like, I am heading a school where we have 10,000 plus students, more than 800 teachers, more than 1,200 total staff members, and then assessment is happening there. How to do that? So we have set another new style of assessment is futuristic, composite, comprehensive assessment. Futuristic, composite, comprehensive assessment, FCCC. What is that? There is no curriculum. There is no notes in that particular week or fortnight. In all the subject, whatever be taught, based on that, integrating all the subjects together, the question should be set. And the question style, based on what? Based on the question like PISA, Teams, Pearls, Asset, Mindspark, Cat4, that category of students, that category of questions, which has fertile, these are the fertile questions, which have many answers, which have many correct answers, in which they have to choose the most appropriate one. And when we set that question paper, I become a villain among all the teachers, because it's not easy to set that question paper. Day and night they are working, chat GPT and whatnot, and everything they are searching. But getting that question based on Cat4, based on PISA, based on Teams, it's not an easy task. And they cannot do cut, copy and paste, because we have a software, we can find out that you have copied from here and there. But when that assessment has gone to the student, trust me, wow factor was there. A child who got the least mark 0 enjoyed that one and was laughing. Yeah, these blunders I have done, and next time I will not do this blunder. A child who got minimum mark in the class, instead of crying, he was laughing. How can I commit this mistake? That is assessment. And that's why this reflective narratives are important. Ongoing improvement to refine the educator's skill and strategies. See, one strategy, you become a master of that. Do you think that strategy will remain throughout your life? Here, things are changing like anything. I'm telling you, whatever, I'm the gold medalist in MSc. Whatever I have learned during my MSc physics, that is in 11th and 12th standard now. Modified version of that. I studied diode and triode, and now chips are there, the final version of that. Now, my point is, then what is required then? Then we have to refine our skills, our strategies. Are we doing that? If we are not doing it, these reflective narratives are important. So keep on reflecting, keep on giving your narratives, and keep on rocking, keep on modifying yourself, upscaling yourself, rescaling yourself, unskilling yourself. And the day will come, you will call a reflective pedagogical leader. And that is the real definition of a teacher, according to me. So that's my initial inputs. I can keep on talking. I don't know whether it's a good habit or bad habit, but yes, it is there. So I think over to moderator. I already crossed my time.
Thank you, Dr. Mahajan. Thank you. You gave us a very comprehensive talk, which was futuristic, composite, and comprehensive. Now, you talked about the need to change, and you talked about what you studied in MSc is being learned by the 11th and 12th standards. What we studied in B.Ed, even that is not relevant today. We did the Bloom's taxonomy. That has changed. The periodic table, what it was when I was in college.
Yeah, and the Bloom's taxonomy is being changed by the student of the Bloom only. So that's the narrative.
So you've given us a lot of input. And there's one thing which I have to mention here. You talked about self-assessment. NCERT has brought out a booklet on self-assessment with various categories. It would be nice. It's available online. You can download it. The PDF is available. You could take that. And we move on to the second question. Are you ready, Dr. Mahajan? Now, this is going to be better than the first one.
Yeah.
What are the biggest barriers to reflective practice? Time, mindset, or something else? How can we overcome them?
Yes. Now the barriers for the reflective narratives. No doubt, it is time. No doubt, it is up to some extent the mindset also. But more than mindset, more than time, is the critical self-assessment. Until and unless if you critically analyze yourself, where you are and where you wanted to go, if you don't do that thing, it will be a biggest hurdle in the path of reflections. Enhancing the self-awareness. Self-aware. You wanted to make your learners aware, but you are not self-aware. You are not going with the pace and speed of the global emerging trend. Nothing will happen. Nowadays, there is a discussion going on whether these technologies will replace the teacher, whether the traditional ways were wrong. My firm belief is the traditional methods are the platform, and all these technologies are the sophisticated ad. And with that sophisticated ad, you can jump on the traditional platform even in such a manner that even sky is not the limit. It is just the beginning. No technology can replace any of the teacher. We have to come out of that mindset, because that is also one of the hurdles. But we have to accept that thing. The techno-savvy teachers are those teachers which are satisfying the need and requirement of these techno-savvy 21st century learners will certainly a biggest threat for the traditional teachers. So that is another threat. Third is how to improve the students' engagement and learning outcome. If that is another way of self-assessing yourself, and that is another hurdle in the path of reflection. If you don't know how to engage your learners more effectively, you cannot reflect. If you don't know how to enhance the learning outcomes, you cannot reflect. That is another the hurdle in the path of reflection. Another one is challenges in that is lack of support. You should be supported. Like a teacher who is having 30 years of experience can change the world if proper digital support is being given to that particular teacher.
Blocker.
Yes. She's changing, keep on changing her.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Mahajan.
Yeah. So that is another aspect which we have to we have to focus on that. Lack of support. The educator should be supported by the parents, supported by the technology, supported by the new emerging global trends, and supported by the society, supported by the government, supported by the examining body. And if that is not happening, reflections are not possible. And that is one of the hurdle. And the most worst or important hurdle is resistance to change. Resistance to change. It is by default. But again, the question arises whether you are driving the change or you are getting driven by the change. Now, when I say I'm firm on that, when you are driving the change, you should not be impressed by the timely, very, very lucrative things. Now, let me cite the example. ChatGPT, these, that. These are timely, lucrative things, temptative things. The future is not these technologies. The future is resilience, empathy, creativity, innovativeness, risk-taking aspect, creating the coherence. The future is critical thinking. Are we focusing on that? And if we do not want to change with respect to that, then it is a big hurdle in the path of giving the reflections or reflective narratives. So resistance to change, lack of support, time, mindset. Now growth mindset and fixed mindset. You have to come out of your fixed mindset and you have to think about the growth mindset. And the growth mindset says you yourself and your learners, they should be techno savvy. They should not be techno addict. They should explore the technology instead of becoming techno addict. The growth mindset says you should embrace the machine instead of becoming the machine. Nowadays, what is happening? The learners are techno addict machines. Big hurdle. Big hurdle. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big hurdle, not only for the learners, for the learning things also. And another thing is, I'm quoting one of my mentor, Professor Sugata Mitra. Professor Sugata Mitra. He has taken that experiment in Dharavi itself. Hole in a wall.
Hole in the wall.
Hole in the wall. And he proved that, I will shortcut it, it proved that the learning happens naturally and minimum intervention in the process of learning brings the maximum learning outcomes. So minimum intervention in the process of learning, what does it mean? It means the educator should speak only 20% and the learner should speak 80%. Got my point? If you are interviewing a list, but in what way? In a scaffolder's way. You should be a scaffolder. Days were gone when the teachers were sage on a stage. Days were gone when the teachers were guide on a side. Days were gone even the teachers are felicitator. Teachers are scaffolder. So if you are scaffolding, trust me, these young 21st century learners will do the wonders. You have to allow them to commit the mistakes as a scaffolder. You have to ensure that they are not repeating the same mistake. That's all. So if you are doing that thing, I think your reflection will be better. Otherwise, there will be a big hurdle in the process of reflection. Thank you. And over to Moderator.
Thank you. Reflections can be introduced even in the students, because when they are reflecting, the school becomes a reflecting school. You mentioned about the learning classroom. Learning classroom leads to a learning school. And all that can happen only when we have an open mind. The NEP talks about, we all we were very ecstatic when the NEP came in, NEP 2020. We said, oh, so many changes are going to happen. But to date, the children carry a bag full of textbooks where the teachers continue to mark from this point to this point the answer for this particular question. So what we need is a change in the mindset, looking at oneself critically, as you mentioned, and it doesn't come easy. When you're at fault and when you're not doing something right, no matter how much of assessment you do, if you don't have an open mind, it doesn't get you anywhere. So you've created a lot of cognitive dissonance here. And let's move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Ms. Kalpana Patange. She is a transformative leader in the field of education with over 3 decades of rich and diverse experience. Ms. Patange was a student of the esteemed Jamnabai Narsi School, and she went on to become the principal of the same school. On her superannuation, she has taken over as the principal of Vissanji Academy. She is a very humble and modest personality, and she did not want to share her accolades on this platform. She has worked across boards, CBSE, IGCSE, and ICSE, and brings global insights with deep-rooted Indian values to create inclusive, forward-looking learning environments. Her expertise lies in holistic education, experiential learning, and building student-first ecosystems. Ms. Patange has an unwavering belief in the unique potential of every child. The first question coming to you: how do we balance the tried and tested with creative and innovative approaches in the school?
Thank you, Ms. Kudva, and good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone. Thank you, Ms. Norina, for giving us this platform to share our ideas. It was really interesting hearing the 2 speakers before me. And allow me to share my ideas. So this is a very relevant question that every school leader today has. I believe that education needs to be rooted yet dynamic, just as Dr. Pramod Mahajan said just now, much like a tree, strong roots, but branches that reach out and grow in every direction. The tried and tested approaches that need to be continued are strong literacy, numeracy, and character education. We can't do without these. They are non-negotiable. They give us students a sense of stability and consistency. For example, lesson planning frameworks, structured assessments, classroom management practices create a predictable learning environment where children feel safe and ready to learn. However, if we stay only in the tried and tested, we risk being outdated. This is why innovation is not a choice anymore. It's a responsibility. We need to create opportunities for children to think, as we all know, and it gets repeated, I think, with every speaker, to think critically, collaborate, problem solve, and innovate. But how do we do that? So I'll give a few examples. What we do at my school, we have a design lab where we ask students to come up with real life problems, and so they have to come up with the solutions to it. And you will be really surprised how creative they can be, much more than what we, management, government, can think. The children have come up with brilliant ideas. We have already patented 2 of them, 2 innovations. We are on our way to patent the 3rd one. So this is one way where we give them this platform. We give them support. Of course, the teachers are there to guide them to make a prototype on the idea that they have come up with. And this is a very brilliant platform for them to critically think, innovate, create. And it is also something that they are thinking for the planet tomorrow. So a sustainable prototype for the future. So that is one way where we are continuing with us, which is time and tested, as well as moving ahead with creative and innovative solutions or teaching methods. Other is what we do, I think most of us must be doing. Suppose we have to do Shakespeare. We do that through an inter-house dramatics competition, where the children come up so brilliantly with the pieces given to them. So they're learning their text, they're performing, they're engaged, and it's a lovely experience for everyone. History can be done through various multimedia projects that the children can perform. So it need not be the teacher all the way, as Sir has also suggested. We blend the traditional and the new, where the learning becomes engaging. And when the children are given that forefront, the empowerment, they are learning in the real sense. But what we need to keep in mind here is the teachers. Professional development must be done regularly for the teacher. The teachers must feel confident about adopting innovation. Whenever we say do something creatively, innovatively, we have to, again, this is a repetition from what Sir said, support the teachers. Teachers must feel confident adopting innovation. Continuous training helps them to move beyond fear. Ultimately, the goal is not to choose between tradition and innovation, but to work together to build our future-ready learners who are rooted in values, yet adaptable to change. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. It just brings to mind our ancient traditional Gurukul system did all that till Macaulay came along and we started with the Babu culture. Anyway, coming back to this, there was one point that you made. Innovation is a responsibility. I think that matter needs to be drilled into our teachers. It's not easy to innovate, but it is your responsibility. Now, let me go on to the next question. In your leadership experience, how do you create space for teachers' voices in the decision-making process?
So teachers are the heart of every school. They are the closest to the students. So their insights are invaluable. I strongly believe that when teachers are heard, they feel empowered. And they are the ones who bring transformation to the classrooms. So in my leadership journey, here are the few strategies that I found effective. We hold, that is the entire team, we, my vice principals together, hold regular staff meetings. And these staff meetings are not top down, where instructions are given, but they are open communications where anyone and everyone is free to give ideas. And it is, you will not believe, allow the teachers to speak. It's not right and wrong. It's just ideation. And they come up with wonderful ideas. That's one, having discussions, open discussions. Second, we form teacher committees where the teachers are given roles and they are heading, and full authority, empowerment is given to them to conduct those little roles that they are. For example, we have curriculum development, a small team, examinations, another team. For Vissanji Man, we have a team. Any creative ways, like we have a lot of, for standard 6, 7, 8, we work for sustainability with Project Mumbai. So we have a team of teachers who work with the children, and the children feel so empowered. We have another team of teachers with the 8th standard student who work on a global scholars exchange program where they are interacting currently with Israel, and which brings about a deep understanding of the conflict that the citizens there and the students especially are going through. So it's very encouraging to see that change in real time. And this is nothing to do with pure academics. That has to happen side by side. But these are the few things that we bring to the children, and there are teams formed. So teachers are empowered to conduct these various programs. We, whenever a teacher conducts something very well, beautifully, then we celebrate them. So during our meetings, PD sessions, they're called out and they speak on what they learned, what they brought to the school, the glory. So that is something which, yes, Norina ma'am, you want to share something?
No, I mean, I will allow you to take your time, but
I'm running.
what's the burning question that's coming to me, and that is why I sort of muted Pramila ma'am is one of the questions that's coming to me is that teaching profession is only meant for teaching. Why should teachers be part of committees and subcommittees apart from teaching? Okay, now I interpret this a little further. What you have done is you have constrained it only to teaching learning processes. What the question that is going beyond is, should we be doing, entertaining guests, taking viewers around the school? Perhaps that is what the question that is being asked. So you could also touch upon this. You could also blend your answer with this, that when teachers do something beyond a call, okay, it is exactly decided by the principal, like you have been doing it. So you could blend that question. So I said many of them put in the same question, either they've decided as a group, and that's why it's coming to me. Yeah, so you could address that issue also.
Yes. So, as you were saying, doing any of these activities beyond academics, beyond their call, should we burden the teacher? So, it is not a burden. It is, as we all have been saying, we need to have a growth mindset. When you are giving them an opportunity to showcase their skills, it's growth for them, and they are very much interested. I have never ever come across any teacher in so many years who have objected when I give them an opportunity to grow. They really look forward, they wait. In fact, they don't want the only regular teaching. So, that having said, I do agree that the teachers are burdened, and I wouldn't ever want to burden them further. So, I try and put all this work that they do collaboratively within the timing of the school. Time is given to them to meet, discuss, collaborate, and implement within the timing. I do not expect them to go home and work on something and submit. So that much is something that I also keep in mind. And I genuinely feel the teachers want to grow. Like this platform where we are also here. Why are we here on a Sunday evening? It's a growing, it's something which we are learning from peers. So a growth platform, growth mindset, if we don't encourage in teachers and do not allow them, it's not going to happen. So this is what I had to share. What I have observed is these practices only builds a higher morale in the teacher. There's lower resistance to change. I haven't ever felt any resistance to change. And ultimately, these activities, learning just gives better outcomes to our students too. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. The student voice and teacher's voice both are equally important for a healthy environment. So I suppose we'll have to look into the student voice also sometime later. We'll see how we can take it forward. But one thing I did appreciate is that the teachers are in the committees fine, but they're doing of their own volition. There is no force. That is very, very necessary. And you're seeing to it that the work is done within the time stipulated so that they don't have to worry about getting stressed out. Because teachers also have a home and they also have a personal life, and it shouldn't make inroads into that. Then the school suffers because of that.
Absolutely.
And the audience has been listening to all of us. Maybe we can ask them a question.
Yeah, I think
And they can answer.
Pramod has raised his hand, so I could just see that.
Yes.
Yes, Pramod? Yeah.
According to me, burdening the teachers for innovative work gives them the opportunity for their growth as well as to accept the challenges. See, schooling, to run the school, a teaching and learning is not limited only up to the classroom. It is 360-degree. And for that, they have to go beyond the boundaries. Now, suppose the CBSE official or district education officer or any parent group is coming up. It is not only the principal to face them. it is teachers' responsibility also to ensure that whatever they are doing it for the well-being of their students. Yes, at the same time, it is not easy and it is not possible to satisfy anyone and everyone anytime and every time. But yes, to keep them at ease, yes, we are hearing you and we are working on that. So for that, if the teacher is being utilized, there's nothing wrong in that. So that way, and it's a challenge. If you do the SWOT analysis, whatever be the threats, those threats has to be converted into the strength. And these extra work, actually converting all the threats to the schooling process, whose part we are as a teacher, becoming our strength, and we are becoming strengthen our different caliber and different qualities. Thank you.
That satisfy everybody? So is the audience ready for a question? Can I have a thumbs up if you're ready? Okay, great. Now in a classroom, is everybody with me? In a classroom, if reflection were to be an object, what would it be? Now listen to the options given. Window, compass, or a mirror, or any other, according to you. Are they writing the answers in the chat? I can't see it from here. What will it be, according to you?
They started writing, and some of them have written mirror.
Mirror. Okay, now we've been talking about reflection, so the first thing comes to a lady's mind is a mirror. Why not a compass?
A mirror is a self-reflection answer to your question given by one of the panelists.
Malini. Malini has given that answer.
Yeah.
Why not a compass?
So if
what
you
does a
allow
compass
me
do?
to answer, if you allow me to answer, I don't know whether
Yes, please go.
I didn't know the question, so I'm just answering it randomly. I would hold one hand, I would hold the mirror, the other I would go to the window and hold the compass. So I will use all your three options.
Yes. Not just that, you're making the best of that. Compass gives you direction and mirror shows you reflection. So you're using best of both worlds. I couldn't have expected a better answer. So shall we move on to the next speaker?
Yeah, one very good answer is there. Actually, it's compass shows the way outward, not the inward. Compass shows the way outward. Meena Mishraman. It's good. Way outward, way towards vertical progression.
Yeah. Towards the goal. That's what I said.
Towards the goal.
Towards the goal. Yeah. Okay. So now we go to the next speaker now. Dr. Vineeta Kamran. She is a dynamic academician and has been the principal for the last 26 years. She is the founder principal of City Montessori School, Kanpur Road Campus, Lucknow. She's been trained by QCI International. She's also the executive director, World Council for the Total Quality and Excellence in Education. She was appointed as the visiting fellow for the Kingston University, London, UK, for imparting modules on total quality management and educational technology. She has been awarded the De Rosio Award for Human Enrichment and Excellence in Education by the ICSE Council in 2016. The question comes to you, Dr. Kamran. Could you share one professional practice from your journey that has transformed your classroom or institution?
Thank you so much, Dr. Pramila. Actually, one thing I forgot to write in my profile is that the highlight of my profile is that I'm a learner throughout my life. You know, a good teacher is a perpetual student. So I want to be a learner throughout my life. And then after heading a school for 36 years, 26 years, no, sorry, it is 36 years. After founding a school, rather, City Montessori School, Kanpur Road Campus, the biggest campus of CMS, this year I took the voluntary retirement because I wanted to become a student again. So I had joined a diploma course from Indian Institute of Management. I want to learn, unlearn, and relearn. As Dr. Pramod Mahajan said, I want to learn how to skill, the upskilling. I want to understand how to understand more. So I'm very thankful to the three speakers who have gone ahead of me. There was so much to learn from all of you. Well, one practice which I would like to share is the advent of quality circles in education. This we started long back, in the 90s we started, but still it is very prevalent today. It is very interesting if I tell you the whole story. Actually, everything started when Dr. Gandhi went to Japan in 1992. Dr. Gandhi was a great visionary. You all know about him. He was the founder of our schools also. He was a great visionary who used to much ahead of his age. So when he went to Japan, he could see that in Japan, after the devastations of the World War, after the devitalization, after the annihilation of the World War, still the Japan had made, he was amazed to see the progress that Japan has made in the recent years. So when he talked to the people, he got to know that it was the invention of quality circles in the field of industries, in the field of business houses, in the field of hospitals, in the rural sector. So everywhere in Japan, almost 10,000 quality circles, long back in 92, almost 10,000 quality circles were there. So he thought in industry, the mind is set. The mind is like a concrete. The mind, you can't change much. And then sometimes you change your habits also, but then they come back again to you. So he thought, why not have it in education? Because in education, the mind is, it's just like a wet cement. Whatever falls upon it makes an impression. It's a very impressionable age. And then in such age, if you want to write any quality message, that can be done. And we should catch them young and innocent. So with this thought in mind, and then we also
Please mute yourselves.
Are a lighthouse to
Go
the
ahead,
society.
Dr. Kamran. Yeah, go ahead.
And we also
there was some cross connection.
Schools are a lighthouse to the society. Schools should show light to the society. Then why not quality, instead of coming down from the industry, it should go up from schools. So that was the time we thought that we should have quality circles in education. Way back in 1994, we went to the International Convention on Students' Quality Circles. That was the industry quality circles, which we went for the first time in 1994. And still the people were laughing there, how these small children have come, why these small children have come. Then we told them that we have got the official entry. We are there as delegates. They are not children, they are delegates. And when they had their presentation, everybody gave them a standing ovation. So that was the time we thought now we should start them in our education. And I want to tell you, quality circles is it's a team. It's a teamwork where children do the teamwork. The minimum is 5 and the maximum is 50. And the children they are the leaders of their own learning. And they are choosing their own problem, because a wearer knows where the shoe pinches. And they are also solving the problems themselves. They meet on every Saturday. And teacher, as Dr. Pramod Mahajan said, she's only scaffolding. She's not doing any other thing, but she's scaffolding. And at that very tender age, when the children are of in class 4th, they're of 10 years, 11 years, maybe 9 years, they use the bar graph, they use the histogram, they use the Venn diagram, they use the Pareto chart, they use the fishbone diagram. So all they're writing essays through the fishbone diagram, pie chart. So these children became well aware with that. It spread like a revolution in the whole world, and there are many countries which came forward. In Nepal, in Mauritius, they have taken it into their curriculum also. It is in Sri Lanka, it has spread. It has spread to US, UK, Thailand, it has spread to almost 25 countries. This year, we had the 25th International Convention here, and we had almost 3,000 delegates which participated. And let me tell you, in quality circles, we started talking about 6 C's now, after the COVID. But in quality circles, we were doing at that time only. because it was quality circles are nothing else, basically collaboration, teamwork, it is citizenship, it is critical thinking, it is problem solving. So this is how, but these days, sometimes we give, that was the age when we used to give solutions to the children instead of giving them problems. But here it was otherwise. The children were finding the problem and then they were solving it also. And we didn't take quality circles alone. We took it as an integral part of total quality management. So right from that age, we are giving children the training in leadership. We are giving them training in Six Sigma. We are giving in 6S. We are also giving 5S. We are giving them training. Then leadership, then benchmarking, how poker yoga. So all these quality circle concepts, they are having the training right from the age of 10. So this is how, this is a people building philosophy. It is from hardware we have moved to hardware, software, and humanware. From hardware we move to software, from software we move to humanware. From from product we have moved to processes, and from processes we have moved to people now. So this is a people building philosophy which we had, and still lots of reflection goes into it, not only on the part of teachers, also on the part of children. Also lots of reflection goes on, lots of empowerment is there. If you are interested, later on I can send you the case studies also. We'll invite you also to participate in the conference. So this is what which was that time it was important. It's still very relevant. It is the need of the hour also.
It would be nice if you can share the case studies. I'm sure our participants would gain a lot from it. Yeah, that would be nice. So let me go on to the next one. Leaders are often expected to make tough calls. How can decision making become more reflective and supportive rather than purely directive?
Very well said, Dr. Pramila. Leaders have to make very tough calls, undoubtedly. Leaders have to face challenges throughout the day. And as principals, we are doing 101 things at the same time. We are so many things, like Durga, we can say so many hands, and we are doing so many things at the same time. It is not easy. It's very tough. And, jokingly, I say, when I see my vice principal very comfortable, I say there is something wrong. She's not doing the work nicely. So as leaders, we are born to be uncomfortable. But side by side, it's very satisfying also. So it's a tough call, but very soul satisfying. And when you say about decisions, first thing I want to say that indecision can be very expensive for a leader. So we have to take our decisions quickly also. But side by side, we have to take the people also with us. We cannot have procrastination, because procrastination is a thief of time. So we have to make the decisions, we can't hold on, we can't sit on the decisions. So we have to make, and then as leaders, we have to reflect a lot. We have to see what are the pros and cons, because what I'm deciding, going to decide, it is going to affect many. So what are the pros and cons? Whether my thinking is aligned with the goal and mission of the school or not. Because I have to always keep the mission. This is the vision, because mission is going to be the GPS, and the vision is the ultimate goal. So how I'm going to align my thoughts, how I go to reflect, and how my thoughts are going to be aligned with the mission and vision of the school. And whether the long-term goals, the short-term goals, the KPIs, all when we do decisions, it is not simply you say yes or no. No, we have to keep all the things in mind. We often talk about the children about metacognition. So metacognition is not only for the children, it is for us. It is for us also. We have to do lots of thinking, overthinking. But by experience, we learn, with experience, like earlier, sometimes I used to take lots of time. Full evening, sometimes I used to take. But now with experience, I have learned. I take decisions, quickly. But that has added to my, that which was a weakness has now become strength with me. When I do the SWOT analysis, this was a weakness, but this has become strength with me now. Then decisions are not to be biased at all. This I reflect 100 times that this decision is not going to be biased. Then it has to be very supportive, because principals have to practice patterns of behavior so that there is a climate of encouragement in the school. They have to be positive. They have to have lots of empathy. Here, I will again, quote a Japanese, because Japan is my favorite. When we got the quality circles, Dr. Deming, Koro Ishikawa, the Deming cycle, the PDCA. I'm very fond of all that what they have taught me. The Shoji Shiba says that before taking any decision, he says his fishbowl principle. There's a bowl, the fish is in it, the fish is swimming. So you see the reactions. So you have to be a part of that bowl. You have to be swim with the fish. You have to see the current. You have to see the undercurrent. What is going on? What is going? So you have to be a part of fishbowl. So before you take decisions, you should have to put yourself in the shoes of that person, that how that person is going to feel. And then lastly, I would like to say that decisions cannot be directive. They should not be directive. They should not be authoritative, because when you say directive, I take it authoritative. I have always taken decisions with my staff, with my team, because together everything achieves more. That is the definition of team. Together, everyone achieves more. And in these 36 years, I have nurtured.
If you don't mind, Dr. Kamran, I'll stop here because we are running short of time and there are
Okay, just one last sentence I will complete. Yeah. The last sentence which I'm saying is that I have nurtured a team of superstars in my 36 years. So all the decisions were taken with them, the brain and the trained staff, and all the decisions should be very God-fearing also. So this is what we must reflect before we take any decision. Sorry if I went.
Well said. No, not at all. Not at all. This always happens. Now, I'm just not going to summarize what you've said. Let's move on to the next one. We have the next person in line is Dr. Caroline Vaz.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. She's currently working as Principal Greenlawns High School, Warden Road. She is the recipient of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Shiksha Sarvocha Samman in 2023 and Bharatiya Shiksha Padma Bhushan Puraskar in 2023. She received Excellence in Education Award by the Governor, His Highness Ramesh Bais, and Education Minister Deepak Kesarkar at the Raj Bhavan on 2nd September 2023. That was the year where you could really clinch a whole lot of accolades, Caroline Vaz. She has initiated several innovative techniques in the school. My first question comes to you. Can you share an example where the creative approach in education directly contributed to the community development? 5 minutes.
Thank you, ma'am, for that question. But actually, I would like to share more than one, but I'll try to be quick. Ma'am, at Greenlawns, we initiated what we fondly call the Greenlawns Bazaar and the Art for a Cause. That was a vibrant space where children became creators, curators, and collaborators. They handicraft simple items, keychains, cards, t-shirts, shoes, tokens, and they invited the community. They invited children from even the lesser fortunate children to experience their efforts. So what began as an exercise in creativity and entrepreneurial thinking soon grew into something much deeper. Now, what is more important, ma'am, is not just the Art for a Cause or the Greenlawns Bazaar. The proceeds were all channelized towards supporting the Tata Memorial Hospital, the cancer hospital, especially to the children of the Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital. And we sent a number of children there, after taking their parents' permission, along with our teachers. They personally visited the hospital. They interacted with these young patients. They sat with them. They listened to their stories. And when they returned, they were visibly changed. They did not speak of what they had done, ma'am, the canteen, the Art for a Cause, but of what they had received, the courage, the smiles, the inner strength of these children. And they said that we would love to do more, probably go back again and sing for them and dance for them and prepare a musical performance for them. So for me, that is the true outcome of education, not just academic growth, but the awakening of empathy, where students recognize their own power to be instruments of hope. I would also like to add one more community work that we have done, ma'am, if you don't mind, with your permission, quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
On Saturdays, we have something that we call as a sensitive Saturday, and we have the Evergreen Club. That is, today we have a lot of the aged people, senior citizens. They have a lot of money, but they have no company. So we invite them to our school, and we have our children and teachers out there, play games with them, perform dance, yoga, a number of things, or chai pe charcha. And you must see the joy that it gives these senior citizens and the bigger joy that it gives our little children. So what they learn is an attitude of gratitude. So when they go back home, they can appreciate their own grandparents and parents. Because according to Helen Keller, it says, alone we do little, but together we can do much. Thank you, ma'am. I can go on and on because we do a lot, ma'am. But
I can understand. I can understand that. But we are running. There's really paucity of time here.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes,
one thing I can say, there is a lot of hoo-ha about socio-emotional learning, and you're really putting it into practice.
Yes, ma'am.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos. We'll move on to the next question. If we see classrooms as the seed beds of the nation's future, what kind of environment must we cultivate today?
Thank you for that question, ma'am. Another question very close to my heart. I see every classroom as a living garden. And if we want strong trees tomorrow, then we must enrich the soil today. That means creating an environment where curiosity is watered daily. I'm repeating, curiosity is watered daily, where respect is the sunlight that every child receives, and where fortitude grows naturally through challenge and encouragement. It must be a space where knowledge is not memorized, but experience, hands on learning, learning by doing, where differences are not tolerated, but celebrated, and where children learn that success is measured not only in marks, but in meaning. If our children can teach young people, if our classrooms can teach young people to think critically, to feel deeply, and to act responsibly, then we are truly cultivating the kind of nation that can withstand storms and yet continue to blossom. Thank you, ma'am.
I think you kind of summed it up. This is so much needed here in India today, where we have no tolerance for one another.
Absolutely.
I think we need to look more into this and try and cultivate. Now that brings us to Mrs. Sushi Sinha. She's a competent senior management professional in the field of education. She has an experience of over 4 decades. Her incredible journey began from the position as a head of the English department at Mayo College Girls' School to education consultant for Education for All project of UNESCO, Jamaica. She uses an adaptable approach to mentoring of students. Her wide-ranging experience is supplemented by a very good academic record with BA honors and MA degrees in English, culminating in a leadership course from Harvard. First question to you. What does supportive framework for decision-making look like in schools and education systems? You are muted. Unmute yourself. Can you hear me, Suchi Sinha? Unmute yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
greetings to all. Forgive me, last minute glitches are always there. Ma'am, could you please repeat the question? Is a supportive framework you're talking about?
Yes, for decision making, look like in schools and education systems.
Yes, yes. Greetings to all. And it has been a very, very beautiful evening full of learnings. And we are lifelong learners. And I'm so honored to be here. Thanks to Norina ma'am and Pramila ma'am for giving me this opportunity. Without further ado, I'd like to I know time is of great essence here. So I feel a supportive framework for decision making, as the word goes, supportive. Supportive itself means that we are supporting the system, the education system or the school system that we are working in, the essential structure that helps leaders, teachers, students, parents, all the stakeholders, and make a very thoughtful, fair, and well-informed decision. We have to have this kind of support in all school systems. Instead of decision making being the only responsibility of the heads or the management or the leadership team, I think it's a beautiful thought that a supportive framework includes everybody and is inclusive. And so we need to have a very clear vision and shared values for having that. And decisions should be guided by common mission statements. For example, I can say holistic student growth, equity, innovation, well-being of everybody, and every choice should link back to being child-centric. And that is very, very important. So we need to achieve this, we need to, as principals and as heads, we need to define the roles of everybody very clearly, the teachers, principals, administrators, parents, and the student representatives. Avoid overlaps to avoid any kind of misunderstandings and difficulties and confusion, and giving each group a distinct voice, and that voice should be respected and heard. Not that sometimes children come up with amazing ideas, and we must keep that in view while framing structure. And the teacher inputs are very, very important on curriculum. Sometimes we as management, as leaders, we just give handouts to the teachers without using and inviting their creative ideas. So I feel we should give everybody an equal importance and equal voice. And then after the churning, the best butter will surface, the butter of ideas. So the teachers...
I just have a question, Shuchi. I just have a question. Sorry to interrupt you. If the school is moving into inclusion.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and how would you go about by taking this decision with the teachers? They're not used to inclusion. How would you do that?
Well, we need to temper them. We need to prepare them. We need to make them realize that their value is at the top, because we are principals, because the teachers and students are there. A school is not a school without a student or a teacher. I still feel we principals I treat myself as secondary, ma'am. I've been a principal for 18, 20 years and I come from a boarding school where teacher inclusion was very, very important. Mayo College is a full-time boarding school. I was there for 25 years. I lived on campus. So I was very much a part of all types of views, we had, and you will be surprised, we even took the views of the support staff. In so many ways, they also supported us, not only in cleaning and cooking, but in various human interactions, it's very important. Their cues are so teachers need to be given that kind of leeway. They need to be given that kind of importance that, yes, your word matters. So I would prepare the teachers, and whichever school I've been ahead of, the teachers, if anybody is attending this, they will know what ma'am is saying. She's actually practiced. I never preached before practicing, ma'am. Thank you so much.
That's the way to be.
Yes, thank you so much.
Can we take the next question? Mrs. Fernandez, can we take the next question?
Ma'am, I have just 2 3 very important points also. When we talk about students, sometimes we speculate, just to finish this question. Sometimes we speculate, ma'am. So now today, as Dr. Pramod said, that everything has to be, differentiated with the quality of the teaching and learning and the student. So ma'am, the data needs to be very precise. Now, gone are the days we say he or she can do better. That's a very generic statement, ma'am. So everything needs to be data driven and data informed, and AI has given us such lovely programs where we can actually, and IITs have given, the iHubs have given us information where we can actually find one-to-one data. Even in a class of 45, we can know each child separately. Ma'am, you can move on to the second question. I know time is of great. Yes.
Yeah. How do reflective teachers impact student outcomes? Not just academically, but both socially and emotionally. I think the others have spoken a bit about it. So you could keep yourself to the point.
I'll keep myself brief. And
Yes.
because I have been a reflective teacher myself, so I can speak with much experience and with conviction that those who are regularly thinking about their own teaching, learning, and keep introspecting and analyzing their own actions. I think that is what makes us a reflective teacher. And we don't strictly go to academics. I've divided my question into three parts. One is academic, which everybody is good with academics, and we prepare our lessons and we do 18, 20 types of lesson plannings and all of that. So all that is there. So I will not push more on academics. The explanations, better lesson designs, depending on the quality of class, cluster teaching, dividing the class, and then making the types of lesson, all that is there. And then a growth mindset modeling is there, where they show the students that learning involves making mistakes is a very natural thing. No child should feel complex that if a teacher asks me a question and I'm not able to respond to it, there is no shame in that. So growth mindset teaches us to make mistakes, keep making mistakes and keep learning. And that's how we keep growing. So that's very, very important. Then the second part of the question I've divided into the emotional outcome. I'm coming from a boarding school and I'm a third generation principal in my family, from starting from my grandmother. I grew up in that environment. So emotional health and mental well-being of a child is very, very important. And being from a boarding school and lived on campus, I was very close to the children. Other after school hours also, we had so many activities, so many counseling sessions that you come to know. So the emotional vent out for a child is very, very important. And for a good learning, for holistic personality development, I think the emotional outcomes are their frustrations, their disengagements, and so the trust that a child builds with the teacher makes the child grow very fast, and holistic learning happens. And these relationships go on to the next and the third generation of their grandchildren, also come back to you as treat you as a grandmother. And the third aspect that I feel is, ma'am, also I've noticed that if you make fun of their failures or make fun of their ignorance, that is what is the most damaging of all things. So I think even if they are giving a wrong answer, I think as sir has rightly said, there are no wrong answers these days. Every one question can have all the answers could be correct. It's to do with the perspective that one has.
Yeah.
And IB board, I really look up to IB board, which gives so much of freedom to globalization of knowledge and everything. So global minds speak global things and various perspectives. So I feel that
That's
no
true.
answer is the
Let's
answer.
work towards making our regular armed SSC boards and other boards
Yes, yes.
equal to on par with IB board.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, ma'am, we were a part of we were the part of a new education policy planning. So I also had a small iota of role to play in it. And that is what we realized, that we are taking a lot from the world boards, the IB board and the Cambridge boards and all across a potpourri of boards. We referred to the Finnish model, we referred to, and we took out the West.
We are really, really out of time, Shichi. I'm sorry about this. We'll really have to stop it here. Mrs. Fernandez, would you like to say something before my closing remarks?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll have to sum it up in a nutshell, because too many questions that have come to me directly. So I'll just say that whatever my speakers have put forward today, if I could sum it in 4 lines, okay? We will have to marry depth with duty. Okay, we will have to marry depth with duty, curiosity with courage. Any of our profession, including teaching, with ethics. And more so, build technologies around education that will not only strengthen our nation, but will stand for global scrutiny. So while our students use technology, we will have to make them aware of it. Like, all of you have given some diverse views, whether it was Dr. Kamran or Dr. Mahajan, home here, Kalpana and Pinky, each one is unique. And you will realize for yourself that you are all walking together in that race. And this particular platform will allow Dr. Kamran to share what her QCI model was. It will help Dr. Mahajan to say that this is what I'm doing and it is mind-boggling, because it might be an open book exam, what he was talking about. And it is so intriguing because students will come nowhere prepared except listening to what the teachers have taught them. And all of us moved into education from different boards, from we are hopping from different boards as we get charmed. And I'm sorry to use that word charmed, but nonetheless, all of us by and large have come from state boards, and we struggled it upward to give some freedom to our students to say, think differently, become innovators, become problem solvers, and we were the risk takers. So if I were to sum it up all, I say you guys are brand builders. You are believers, you are restless, you are, you have the attitude, you are naturalist, and you are dreamers, daydreamers. Risk takers, undoubtedly that I can say you're a risk takers, because each one of you, what Mahajan said, is a high risk taking portfolio. And yet, with 10,000 students, you'll have 20,000 parents, and that too in a UAE, it's going to be mind boggling. But he's taken the risk because he's done his homework too well. He's connected globally. He's aware of what is happening outside his campus happening and what is the demand. He's trying to meet the demand. So if the placement in UAE, Sharjah boys is number one, it's thanks to the risk that he's taking. And you can make out you got fire when he was talking. You got fire from Pinky, right? Pinky was actually, I felt it was like a political talk that she was giving, but I have visited her school, so I can vouch every word what she was taking. And when I went to that place, I was reaching and not reaching, reaching and not reaching. And finally, when I reached, I thanked myself. I think I even mentioned to Mrs. Vaz, if somebody has to go and see that school for the kind of amenities and infrastructure, and also what they do, the kind of freedom that she gives her teachers. So all of you, I know personally. I mean, Lucknow, we all have been so many times. We've had our own episodes over there. Caroline was, like I told, I said once, Mrs. Bajaj, if she invited us to a school, I told myself back home, if she can invite us, then I can also invite. Mine is a vertical structure. Nonetheless, even hers is a vertical structure. But make shift, make what you can do best, reach out to the community. So I feel that, this is the best opportunity for all of us to come together, reflect. And there are some of my young teachers who are there. I can see Swati, I can see Sharmita, I can see so many of them. And I can say for Swati because she joined as Kirti. But Swati was a young teacher with me at Podar International School. She's taken the risk of just moving out and starting her own venture. I mean, what more? So she's going to be a great takeaway, learner, and she's going to take away of all of what you shared. Malini is far away and she's joined. Mrs. Vaz is far away and she's joined. And so many others, who have made time and made it possible to come. I have an AGM. That's why I was telling ma'am that I have an AGM of the building. So we need to wind up. And thank you, all of you, for this, being there for our first maiden session and making it a success. So I'm going to click a photograph with all your permissions. If you can keep your cameras on for a minute. And yeah, anybody else wants to click also is permitted. I think so. I have no objection on that. So I'm going to take a quick photograph of all those who are visible to me, because any first in life is very, very important. You agree with me? So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Pinky,
I
we
have
would
my dear
love to
friends
visit
who are
your
all
school.
joining.
Like Norena has said, we would love to visit your school. Okay? Just tell me the name of your school. Tell me the name of your school. I don't know.
It is Thakur Ramnarayan Public School,
Okay. Okay.
TRPS, and
Okay.
TBMPS, which ma'am has visited in Naigaon.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yes, so thank you, everybody. And I hope you have learned something, one takeaway, because Mrs. Kamran said, she said huge words, she put it all together. And some of you, like Kalpana, has been so practical. I think we can adopt ideas from each other. So once again, good night. And Dr.
Correct,
Mahajan,
ma'am.
you will be the last person. Yours will be the last words.
Yeah, I enjoyed the session, and it's a lot of sharing and a lot of reflective narratives have come. And thanks to Fernandez ma'am that you brought all of us together. And no doubt we have to take a risk, and we have to upskill ourselves, and we have to keep on sharing and keep on learning, because learning does not have any age or any barrier, and keep on reflecting. And such type of workshops, such type of meetings certainly will help to empower the educators, to train the educators, to scaffold the educators, and to scaffold ourselves also, to decide the new aim and objective. Because one thing is established in the world: when you have reached on the top with certain mastery, that day you have to scrap that and you have to start something new. Nokia is the very well example of that. So if you have to rock like iPhone, you have to keep on changing, and that's the ultimate mantra. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
I
thank you
think
so much,
all
Dr. Pramila, for being such a wonderful moderator. You
correct.
were great,
And
Dr.
we can
Pramila.
send all our feedback to our group, and whatever you want to share, we'll try to put it, make it available to people, because everybody here seems to be very interested in a 360-degree assessment in what Dr. Mahajan is doing. Otherwise, you'll have to come to Dubai, sir.
Yeah,
If you don't,
surely.
you
And
have to come.
if you're not able to come to Dubai, we can meet online to your teachers, and we can do some sort of training CPDs and all, whenever
Absolutely.
time permits, whenever time requires. So most welcome for that also, because we have created a lot of CPD sessions in a lot of areas which are actually in accordance to the new emerging global trend. And why? Why? Because we are forced to do that. Every year inspections are there, very tough inspection, global level inspection. If you can't prove ourselves, we are nowhere. So if it
Dr.
is
Mahajan
like
and the
that, we can
others,
do that.
Dr.
Huh.
Mahajan and other panelists, if you wish to put your numbers in the chat box, please do that, because people are questioning me, and I would not want to do that. So if you wish to, please put your number, people can get in direct touch with you. And or if you want to send on one-on-one, it's up to you. But I will stop getting tempted about it. Yeah. Thank you and good night. Please do the needful. Dr. Mahajan, wait for a minute till people
Yes,
put
yes,
their
yes, yes,
together.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Norina ma'am. This was a superb way of connecting. Thank you for conceptualizing this idea, and Dr. Pramila Kudva for being the person who coordinated with us all. A lot of work there too. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Mrs. Vyas, for joining.
Thank you.
My mentor there. It was nice having her there. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Has the recording stopped?
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Yes, see, let's have a meeting or in personal meeting. You're muted.
Yeah, we will have a personal meeting. I will send the Zoom link. Let me know the most probable time, time-wise, date-wise, and then we can meet.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Further. Yes, we have not. To inform the others, we have 8 principals who are retired, but we still have a bond with each other. And wherever we are, we make it a point to sit together, sometimes sing, sometimes joke, but of course talk about the future. As the diktat goes, we are nurturing the future of our country. And that is what we have to remember wherever we are. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good
Bye.
night.
Bye, Malini. Nice meeting you online.
That's a new normal nowadays.
Thank you,
Isn't it?
dear. Thank you.
That's
Thank you
right.
to everyone. It was very, very interesting. And after long, I met all these friends. So a lot of memories also came to my mind. And every second here, I have enjoyed it thoroughly. Many things, many ideas have come in mind, which we will certainly share in some other days.
Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
So, Nurina ma'am, can I end the meeting? If you are there? I think she has left. So let's end the meeting.